but I am Triple H. I stand here before you in defiance of tyranny. I come to Hollywood to wrestle as a free man, and a free man am I. Would I be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance to shine on the grandest stage of them all and tell my enemies that they may try at WrestleMania, but they'll never take my title? Are you with me? Woo! You got a champ, that guy Mel Gibson. He's got nothing on you. Woo! Woo! All right, woo! Woo! To WrestleMania.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 13 of the Pseudo Nerd Podcast for April 1st, 2016. I am your podcast host, Josh Kiser, and joining me today, Mr. Joshua Haddix.
Oh, lucky number 13 this week, huh?
That's right. And, of course, just Kyle Hoagland.
Always a pleasure.
So how you guys been?
Good, very good.
I mean, outside of me missing a window in the rear part of my car, everything's been pretty good.
Dude, I heard about that. That's unfortunate.
You know what? This is what happens when you decide to. So, I've been obviously in San Francisco for a couple of months now, and the wife and I decided to actually do something social. I don't know if you guys ever use Meetup or use like the website Meetup.
Is this like a swingers thing for like couples to like go and?
Dude,
is it a sister company of Meat Spin?
No.
I wish I could cue up the "You Spin Me Right Round, Baby" right now, but I can't.
It's just like a website where you sign up and there's just people that like coordinate little meetups with kind of like social gathering. So this one in particular was at a bar near where we lived, and it was a bunch of people playing Cards Against Humanity. And so it was fun. We had a good time, met a bunch of people, played some darts, and we had to make our own team names. Haddix should be proud. The team I made up was called Peaches and Cream, and we creamed the opposition.
Very nice, very nice.
Then to our chagrin, we were leaving, and I see that there's a bunch of broken glass, and Stone Cold was nowhere to be found. But also what was nowhere to be found was my tennis gear. Or no, I'm sorry, my tennis gear was there. My laptop bag with my work laptop and my tablet was taken.
That is unfortunate, dude.
That's what happens when you go to the mean streets of San Francisco, dude.
Dude, tell me about it. It's a bar in a plaza of a very busy grocery store. So it's not like the parking lot is abandoned or even empty. It's full all the time with people everywhere. So it's a really weird place for me to think that somebody would just try to break into a car and steal shit, just because I feel like there's a lot of foot traffic there.
You know where there's not a lot of foot traffic, and that's on our Facebook page. So I just want to remind people to go and subscribe to us on Facebook and iTunes and all that, and give us that more foot traffic. So, maybe go tweet at Kyle right now and let him know that you feel bad or you hate him and hate the show. That's cool too. We appreciate all that feedback.
Speaking of which, we just put up Test Your Knowledge match number 2. Not going to give away the ending since it just came out, but it's Haddix takes on Kiser in another wrestling bout, this time for WrestleMania trivia. Once again, not going to give away the ending, but Kiser won.
I mean, it was a little bit more exciting than that, dude. All right, it came down to the last question.
Well, you know what? I looked back and Seth Rollins was never in a WrestleMania
I meant to comment
match
about that too. Yeah, Seth Rollins wasn't even around when they were still.
That was a mercy point. I did give a point just because I felt bad. Shelton Benjamin, however, was definitely that was the big money answer.
That was the big money in the bank answer. Nice. Oh,
because
we
are so
are
proud of yourselves.
Nerdy. And don't worry, listeners, PMPers out there. This is going to be our last wrestling-related podcast for a while anyways. We're going to discuss the granddaddy of them all today, WrestleMania.
The show of shows, if you will.
That's right.
The Showcase of Immortals. What else is there? There's got to be another one.
I'm sure. I don't know right now off the top of my head, but...
The house that Vince built. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So, for those that don't know, this is literally the Super Bowl for sports entertainment. This was something Vince, in his genius, created as the big show. It was the big money show. Think over the top. Much like the Super Bowl, you're going to have a lot of performances. You're going to have the big matches. All the titles are on the line, and they make a whole big production out of it. And every year they try to make it bigger than the previous year. And this year's, I would say no different. But as we get through as we start to review the whole card as a whole, it's a little less impressive, I think, than other shows. And part of that's due to injuries. There's been a lot of injuries to some big players that aren't going to be back for this show. And I think part of it, too, is just if you listen to last week's podcast, or not last week's, 2 weeks ago's podcast, where we talk about the writing on the current product, there could be some of the issue there as well. But before we get into that, let's start with the Hall of Fame. Every year they have a new Hall of Fame class, sort of like the NFL, and they use this WrestleMania weekend to induct everybody into it. And I don't know, Haddix, I don't know if have you ever watched the Hall of Fame show? I know Kyle does.
I mean, I've seen, I've never sat down and watched it live or what have you. But, I've gone back and watched like the ones that I've wanted to see, like Stone Colds and stuff like that. But other than that, no, I've never really sat down and watched the whole thing front to back live.
It's actually pretty interesting, especially I like a lot of the speeches. Because one of my favorite things about wrestling in general is a lot of the backstories, a lot of behind the scenes stuff, the sort of the friendships and relationships that are made with the actual wrestlers. So there's a lot of that in there. And this year's class, I guess we can just move right into it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. But we'll kind of I'll mention everybody who's in it, and if you guys have anything you want to talk about about that particular wrestler, or the person who's inducting that person or persons, feel free. And if not, well then we'll kind of skim past it and move on. The first, and this is in no particular order. The first person's gonna be Stan Hansen. They sort of always induct a wrestler that was big long before we were alive, pretty much, and Stan Hansen's sort of that guy. Haddix, I know you won't add anything at all about him. Hougie, do you have anything you want to say about Stan Hansen?
Well, first of all, he's being inducted in by Vader, correct?
Correct, yeah, yep.
Yeah, so they were very close friends. Obviously, Vader is, I think, a much more well-known person to us. But Stan Hansen was always like one of those, but before there were characters like Hogan and everybody, like you just had some real tough, like don't cross my path, real stiff, just like mountains of men. That's kind of what Stan Hansen was.
That's what ladies call me, big stiff mountain of man.
You would think that every episode where you kind of, I feel like you're like pitching yourself to the ladies. Every episode,
I'm just waiting for one of them to hit a home run.
That's right. And that one girl on our who was that girl that tweeted at us? Did anyone know her? I don't know her.
Kiser knows her.
I know her actually. I'm going to be hanging out with her this weekend, but that's a
Shout
whole
out to
other
Lauren.
time for another time. Yeah.
Well, thanks for the social media traffic then. But yeah, so Stan Hansen was like I wouldn't know if he was like the inventor, but he was like the guy who was really popular for like the clothesline or the lariat. So like a guy like JBL is like a huge fan of a guy like Stan Hansen. Like anybody who can like hit like a really hard like clothesline. That's kind of what Stan Hansen was about. But that's really all I got about Stan Hansen. Other than I've seen a few matches, and I know Jim Ross is a huge Stan Hansen guy. So as far as like an old school guy, I guess it's well deserved that he gets in.
Yeah, for sure. The next one is Jacqueline. Again, they always have an old guy, then they always have a woman. Jacqueline, sort of that Attitude Era girl. I don't know. Do you guys have anything? Do you think she deserves it? Anything you want to add about her? Other than I think it's very strange that the Dudley Boys are inducting her.
I was about to say, the only thing I have to say about that is it was that. I mean, yeah, I guess she deserves it. I mean, she was talented, back in the Attitude Era and all that. But yeah, the Dudley Boys thing is odd to me.
Well, what a lot of people don't know about Jacqueline is that, like Chyna, she was one of the very few women wrestlers that won a men's title. She was a one-time cruiserweight champion when WWE took the cruiserweight championship towards the Invasion era, 2001, 2002 probably. She held that title. So she's a two-time women's champion and a one-time cruiserweight champion. So, I mean, I think just having being able to have a men's title, I think, can earn your place. And I'm sure at some point Chyna will probably get in once I feel like they probably iron out the differences that are probably between her and certain people in Triple H.
And the whole pornographic.
I was going to say, I think it might be more of that.
It's probably the porno thing more than anything else.
I mean, Triple H went on the record on the Stone Cold podcast, actually, I believe it was, and said he doesn't want his daughters to Google Chyna and find, one day and see what all there is about her. Yeah. That said, he could Google Triple H and find out that he fucked a dead corpse on an episode of Raw. So I don't know where his whole point is there. It's a little hypocritical.
Yeah. And for those that want the full story on that, go ahead and check out last week's podcast where Kiser shines a little more light on that.
Boom, there you go. That's how you set it up and sell a previous podcast. Nice work, gentlemen. And then moving forward, the Fabulous Freebirds. Biggest thing, I mean, they were, older days wrestlers that, as far as that goes, but Michael Hayes is probably the biggest name in that group of people. One that a lot of wrestlers themselves thought was sort of like needed to get into this Hall of Fame, and finally he's getting his due this year. So good for him. I don't know, not much else to say about that, I guess, at this point.
They're famous because they were the creators of the Freebird rule, where a lot of wrestlers now, tag teams that are trying to do that, a lot of tag team champions are created by either like 4-person stables or like a 3-person group, kind of like the New Day, who is inducting them.
Which is why they're inducting them, yeah.
Yeah, so like the Freebird rule, for people who don't know, is that, so the Fabulous Freebirds was 4 people. Yeah, it was 4 people. And if when they won the titles, they had a rule where any 2 of the 4 could defend it.
Yeah.
So for that, I mean, just for that kind of
it's
just
something unique,
throwing that in
but
there.
Then they were also, I mean, they were big. Aside from that too, they were pretty big, stable.
Yeah, they're 10-time tag champions. So yeah, all of it in WCW.
Hey, but that's all right. It's all good for back then. Moving forward, we got the Big Boss Man, who, while never making it to the top, was for a long time prevalent in the wrestling business, and sort of even revitalized his career when he came back during the Attitude Era, and was a decent heel. Never mainstream champion, but always solid. And then we got the Godfather, who was also Papa Shango, but best known for the Godfather and his Ho Train back in the day. He sort of was the epitome of the Attitude Era and the grungy sexual side of it. As far as wrestling talent and accolades, I don't know if he had a whole lot to go behind it, but he's got
he's a one-time tag champion, I think, when he was in the Nation, and then he was also an Intercontinental champion.
Yeah, so, I mean, it's got a little bit there, but he was definitely a relevant character for an extended period of time, anyways. And was one guy who was able to change his gimmick a few times and have moderate success with a handful of them. So it's worthwhile. And then the big one for wrestling is going to be Sting.
I thought you were going to say Snoop Dogg.
No, that was going to be the Celebrity Hall of Fame minor mention.
What about Joan London?
We're not even talking about.
All right.
Sting is the big wrestler. Obviously, one of the most famous. He's the Hulk Hogan for WCW, and Ric Flair is going to induct him. So that should be the most interesting speech. And then, from both Flair and Sting, and then it's Sting in general for a guy who, was basically the face of the opposition to WWE for so long. It's good to see him getting into the Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. Sting is the bee's knees, if you will. Get it with the sting and bees? You guys get it?
Nice. I got it. But let's leave the jokes to the host, all right, man?
Oh, sorry.
And then, as Hougie said, there's always one celebrity inductee. This year it's Snoop Dogg. Grats to Snoop Dogg. And then Joan London will get the new Dana Warrior Award, which was something that was created last year after Ultimate Warrior died from the year before. So they decided to give this award out to some sort of good-natured person for one reason or another. And this year it's Joan London, who survived breast cancer. And that sort of wraps up the Hall of Fame class. They always, if anyone's actually interested in that, besides Kyle and I, Saturdays, the Saturday before WrestleMania, they will show the whole show. They'll do that. I think it'll be on the WWE network, but they'll do the whole presentation, and you'll see all the wrestlers there dressed up. It's actually pretty entertaining. It's an award show basically in some aspects, but it's a lot of laughs, few tears.
The Big Show cries every year. It's my favorite part of the whole show.
Yep, that's factually correct as well. So, Haddix, I don't think you have anything else you want to add to this, I'm sure, so we can move into the WrestleMania rundown.
The rundown, the movie with The Rock?
Says.
No, not the rundown by The Rock. So I'm going to kind of go in order of how I think the card's going to play out. There's a good chance things are going to be switched around and it's not going to fall quite this way, but you know what? Sue me. Let's just, let's do this. The couple things I can say is they're going to have WrestleMania as a whole is going to be, 5 hours, I think, something like that. 2 hours of it's going to be pre-show stuff on the USA Network. So if you don't have the WWE Network, you can actually, I think, sign up for free right now. But if you want to watch the free show on USA beforehand, you're going to be entertained by this opening bout of Kalisto versus Ryback for the US title. And other than the fact that this is a match and Kalisto is the champ, I can't really tell you much about this. And I've been watching Raw for the last 5 or 6 weeks to see what kind of build-up they're having for WrestleMania. And this one has been forgotten about.
Didn't Ryback wrestle... Who did he wrestle on last Monday Night on Raw? It wasn't... I feel like they didn't even mention this match. In his whole
They've
fight.
done a good job of not mentioning it, like, at all.
So he wrestled somebody on Raw, and they honestly did not bring this match up once.
This was supposed to be, I think, not supposed to happen. This is one of those matches because someone else got hurt. I believe it was supposed to be if everything was supposed to happen the way it was supposed to, it should have been Kalisto versus Neville, and they were going to have like a nice.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think Neville would have been in the ladder match.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think that was the Zack Ryder replacement in the ladder match because this one was they were sort of hinting at this for a while because Ryback's been kind of a dick to Kalisto. But I don't know. I don't really care about this match at all. I mean, to be fair, I don't care about the US title. The only time it's meant anything in the last 5 years was when John Cena had it about 6-8 months ago, maybe a year ago.
And he was defending it every Raw.
Yeah, he was defending it every Raw, and it was actually really good matches he was having every Raw. But now I don't care about it anymore. And to be honest, Kalisto, I enjoy him as a wrestler. I think he's sort of reminds me of like a Rey Mysterio type. But Ryback, I think, is just awful on all aspects of things, and I don't care about this match.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of heat on this, and I don't understand how. Go ahead, Haddix. Sorry.
I was saying I will not be tuning into USA to watch this. That was all I was going to say.
See, I thought this was actually going to be on the regular card. I thought the only thing that was going to be on the pre-show was the Andre the Giant Memorial Tournament.
No, that's actually going to be on the main card.
Oh, is it?
Yep. I researched the other day the list of what's going to be USA pre-show and what's not. Now, again, cards are always subject to change. That's what you see at the little disclaimers at the bottom if you ever order a pay-per-view. But this is that's the way this looks like it's going to work out. This is going to probably be the opening match for Raw, the WrestleMania pre-show. It used to be the old Sunday Night Heat.
Oh God.
But let's move on before we do though.
So if we're going to go with predictions here, what's your predictions for this?
That's what I was just going to ask. My prediction is Kalisto wins. Ryback probably hurts him in the fight because Ryback's a very stiff wrestler.
Yeah, I'll agree with Kiser.
I only think I'll say I think Ryback will win only because I think they've got bigger plans for Ryback as a title holder than Kalisto. Not saying that Kalisto can't be the next Ray. I just think right now, I don't know. This is already a pretty awkward match to schedule, and I think Kalisto's got plenty of time to build up more of a, I guess, more of a draw. But right now, Ryback I think makes more sense to be the U.S. champ. I'm not even saying that as a racial thing.
Oh, for those who don't know, Kalisto's like a Mexican wrestler, so that's what Kyle's going with the U.S. title.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, all right, then that's 2 for Kalisto and 1 for Ryback. Moving on to the next match, and the one that's pretty much, I don't even think the people in the match care about it. It's going to be Team Total Divas versus Bad and Blonde. If you really want to know all those people, Team Bad and Blonde is Lana, Emma, Naomi, Tamina Snuka, Summer Rae, and then Total Divas are the people from the E-Show Total Divas, Brie Bella, Paige, Natalya, Alicia Fox, and the surprise return to the main roster of Eva Marie. And
dude, I got pumped on Raw, dude, when she came out. I got real pumped.
Gotta be honest,
now
you
I
were
feel
the
like an
only
idiot.
one because they booed.
So I feel like an idiot because I'm the one that posted that thing on Facebook and Twitter about how they had 3 people on they had, what was it, Sheamus, Cena, and Eva Marie, and said like 2 of the 3 people don't even have a match. But now I guess Eva Marie is going to be on a match.
And there's
John Cena.
I wouldn't be surprised if John Cena actually shows up at WrestleMania.
I think he's
something.
I think he's going to. Just like The Rock is going to do something and whatnot, but
right.
I think he'll show up at some point just to be there.
So as far as this 5-on-5 women's tag match, other than the fact that I don't care one bit about it, Haddix, I know that you're a Total Divas watcher, so I'm going to let you give your synopsis of what you're expecting to see out of this and what your interest level is.
I actually haven't watched Total Divas in a while, ever since Lindsay and I cut the cable, if you will. But I don't think this ends in like a pinfall. I think it ends up being like a big old brawl. Not brawl.
If it was the Attitude Era, it would be a brawl.
Yes, they would all end up like naked somehow. But I just think it'll be
panties match.
I think it'll end up being like a big brawl, and they'll like ring the bell to end the match. It'll be something just.
See, I disagree. I think it will be a pin, and I think it'll be Brie because I think it's going to be her. I honestly think this might be one of her last matches.
I hope to God they don't end her career in a 6-on-6 match.
I don't think Brie's going to. Well, here's the thing. It's more WrestleMania than it is the match. I do feel bad that I feel like if they're trying to create like that, you know, the Divas or the women's wrestling revolution, it kind of sucks that part of that is a 5-on-5. That's just kind of like to me, I always see those kinds of matches as just like a cop out to get everybody on the card.
For what it's worth, there's another women's match. Yeah.
Right. And to your point, Kyle, at WrestleMania, they want to get everybody on the card to get them a payday for WrestleMania. So the same reason that there's the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal that we'll get to, this is sort of the female version of that.
Right, but I still think that Brie will have a big part in it. I do think that she's going to probably retire and be with her husband and probably start a family, because that's been a lot of rumors saying that's what is more important to her. So I don't know what's going to happen with Nikki if that is true, but I see Brie coming up with the pinfall with her last match, if this is her last match.
All right,
I agree.
I'm gonna go that team wins as well, but I really hope, for the sake of Paige, who I think is far above and beyond more talented than anybody else in this match, that somehow she breaks away from this. I don't know if she just walks away or just turns on everybody or what, but I just hope that something happens for Paige's sake. But I'm on Team Total Divas that they're going to win this as well, because why not?
For what it's worth, I stick with my no one wins except for unless it's Brie's last match. Then I'll have to go with Brie pinning somebody. But I'm going to stick with my.
You think it's just gonna be like
I think it's just going to be like
end the match, a brawl.
Yeah, some kind of brawl goes on, whatever. So.
Okay, and then the last USA pre-show match is the Usos versus the Dudley Boys. Again, this is I don't know why they're having this match. The build-up was kind of all over the place. It wasn't that good for it. It was maybe slightly better than the Kalisto-Ryback build-up, and very little concern on my end. I love the Dudley Boys. I hate the Usos, and I could care less about this match.
Agreed. As a matter of fact, on last Raw, which was the Raw before WrestleMania, the Dudley Boys were only on it to distract Roman Reigns so that he got jumped. I mean, that's how much they don't care about this match.
Obviously the Usos and Roman Reigns are family, and that extended Samoan family of theirs. Yeah. Where as long as you're Samoan, you are a part of that family in some way, shape, or form.
This is true. It's a small island, apparently.
Yeah, it's like someone like Yokozuna. Yeah, Yokozuna and The Rock are cousins. Let's put it that way. So for me, I don't care. I really could care less about this match. I'm actually more bummed that this is just a regular tag match. I thought this would be a really fun one to have, like a TLC or a tables match.
I agree completely. Yeah, if they would have had at least a tables match or something to spice it up, they're not. The match will actually probably be okay because I think they're all good workers. But I don't. They've done so little to build this. Yeah, exactly. They've done so little to build this that honestly, if the Dudley Boys lost, the Dudley Boys won, I would not care either way.
It makes no sense, though, for the Dudleys to win, though.
Yep, I agree. I was just going to say, that said, I think the Usos are going to have this.
Usos are my pick as well.
I feel like the what's the hell's their name? I feel like the Dudleys and Jericho are there to do the same thing, which is to be like a good veteran worker to help bring up the other talent at this point.
Yep, and that said, let's get to the talent that's going to be actually performing on the WrestleMania card. So we'll start that out with the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which I don't know if this is going to be the first match of the night. It might not be. The next one we're going to talk about could very well open the show up. But what you were talking about earlier about throwing everybody into a match just to get everyone on the card, that's exactly what this is. It'll be the third annual version of it. It's basically a mini Royal Rumble, and the first year it happened and Cesaro won, he got this big trophy and everyone thought it was going to be his push to the moon, and then they pretty much dropped it like 2 weeks later, and by winning this, it is never mentioned again until about 30 seconds leading up to WrestleMania, because all of a sudden the Big Show, who won last year's, is now being introduced as the 2015 Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. So you'll get to hang your hat on that every year that you're a performer 1 week from WrestleMania. Other than that, it means nothing. I'm not going to sit here and read everybody who's on it, just basically accept the fact that it's pretty much everybody that's left who doesn't have anything to do. And
that's not injured.
Yeah, that's not injured, that too. And there's a few probably mystery guests that are going to either be if somebody's back from injury and they're going to show up, or just NXT people. That said, if you're buying into how they've been pushing the storyline, Kane, Big Show, and the Social Outcasts are the 6 people who have seemed to be the ones most likely to win this one. That said, why don't you guys give me your, if you have any opinions you want to talk about this match, or just give me who you think's going to win it.
I mean, I don't have much to add, so I'll pick a random person to win because, like you said, I don't think it means anything. I don't think the winner is going anywhere necessarily because they win this match. So I'll pick Kane for shits and giggles.
I'm very bummed that this really could be like a good opportunity to put somebody over.
Yeah, absolutely. It could be like what the Money in the Bank sort of is in many ways, but just to a little lesser extent.
Sure. So to me, like, this kind of match serves one of two purposes. It's either to push somebody, hopefully, to the next, like kind of put the spotlight on them and kind of give them that moniker that they won this. So you give it to somebody who's up and coming. So for that, like, I think of somebody like Braun Strowman, the only guy from the Wyatts that's not injured or not wrestling in it, I think. Or the other end of it is somebody who, like the Big Show, like give somebody an accolade that, obviously they've been here for a while and give it to them. And to me, like a guy like either Kane or Mark Henry would be somebody to give that to.
Well, so the Big Show's like already won it, so I assume you don't think he's going to repeat.
No, I didn't say the Big Show. I said, well, because the Big Show is already.
Right. I just wanted to clarify because
the Big Show's not going to win it. If it's going to be a veteran, I'd go with either like Kane or Mark Henry.
Yeah, and I would think if it's going to be one of those people, I think it's Kane, not Mark Henry, and I just think that because Kane's got to be getting near the end of his career, so it could be to what you were saying, like this is like one of his last hurrahs, like give it a little tip of the hat to add on a resume that Kane's had a long career, been in many WrestleManias, and I think he's like a one-time world champion, and that was for a day. So it would be a nice little bonus to give him.
I think the one to watch out for, in my opinion, is Braun Strowman.
I don't think he's in it, is he?
He's not been confirmed to be in it yet, but that said, none of the
other Wyatts are also in it. I think they're
not in
or not
anything at this point. Yeah, so There's a good chance that I think we have 4 people unconfirmed for the Battle Royal. The Wyatts could be 3 of those because I think Luke Harper's hurt for an extended period of time, but the other 3 could show up. So I would think if they want Strowman in there, like he's a very good candidate. And then the other rumor I heard is there's a chance Cesaro will be cleared, which would be an awesome way to bring him back. But it's not like a Royal Rumble where they're getting introduced one by one, so it would sort of ruin the surprise having him come out that way. So I don't know if that'll happen or not. But
so what's your guys' pick?
If I had to pick right now, I'm going Kane.
And I'm going either Strowman or Mark Henry or Kane.
This guy.
Do you want to name the other 17 people too?
If I'm going with one, I'll go Braun Strowman.
I'll give you this. Braun Strowman, if he's in it. If he's not in it, who's your pick?
That's fair.
If you already picked Kane, I'll go with Mark Henry.
Okay. So I'll give you that. Because if Braun Strowman doesn't show, then that's not fair. So, all right.
I mean, Haddix picked Kane too, so you're more than welcome to join in on the Kane bandwagon.
I was about to say, yeah.
Both of you. Mark Henry. Sexual chocolate.
So that marks that out. That Mark Henry's that off the list of matches. So let's move on to the next one. This is going to be the Intercontinental title ladder match between Kevin Owens, Stardust, Sami Zayn, Dolph Ziggler, Sin Cara, The Miz, and Zack Ryder.
Woo.
Yep.
I like how you read that, kind of how you wrote it on the rundown here with a bunch of R's at the end.
I'm just giving the guy this props. This is his WrestleMania moment.
Well, let's be honest with this match. This is really Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn versus Dolph Ziggler and a bunch of guys.
I really wanted you to continue saying versus this guy versus this guy versus this guy.
No. I mean, does it make any sense at all for, as much as I love Zack Ryder, but it doesn't make sense for him to have it. Same with Sin Cara, same with The Miz, and the same with Stardust.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and I honestly, what I think is going to happen is Kevin Owens is going to retain, but I think there's going to be the only way Kevin Owens doesn't retain is Sami Zayn cost them the match, and they set up a feud between the two of them. But I think however this ends, it's going to result in a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn feud.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is the only title that stays in the whole card. I think Kevin Owens keeps it unless it's Sami Zayn. But regardless, after this,
it could be Stardust or Sin Cara or Zack Ryder.
No, I'm not doing that this time. No, I see this being one of those classic. Kevin Owens gets his win at WrestleMania. Gets a good title retaining moment for him, and then like the next pay per view, I see Sami Zayn taking it.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I'm on the thought that Kevin Owens wins this as well. I don't know if there's going to be a surprise on this or not. I do think that this match could be one of the better matches. I mean, ladder matches at WrestleMania have been notoriously good. And I think with these, the list of people here has potential, but then I don't know, like, The Miz, I don't know if he's going to really do much for the thing. Zack Ryder's got to prove something, but I think between Sin Cara, Ziggler, and Owens, I think there could be some pretty entertaining acrobatics, if you will.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see Dolph Ziggler win. I really would, but I have to agree with you guys as far as accuracy. I think Kevin Owens does keep the belt.
All right, let's move on then. We'll talk the next match. After you had a hot ladder match that's full of excitement and the crowd needs to kind of catch its breath, we're going to put the New Day versus the League of Nations in a 4-versus-3 handicap match. And honestly, the build-up for this, while I love the New Day and I think they've been entertaining, I think the build-up for this has been pretty shitty. And I think the New Day is going to win, but I really think if the League of Nations is going to be considered this evil powerhouse that they need to win this match. But I just see the New Day winning it.
Yeah, I think
I'm just go ahead. Sorry,
I'll say what's weird is I feel like the matches back in the day had a lot more build-up, and they only had 2-hour Raws. Like they have 3 hours these days, and these matches are just. I feel like, and again, like we said before we started, there's a lot of injuries and stuff this year, so that might play into some things.
Another reason why that's happening is these Raws have longer wrestling matches. The Attitude Era Raws, the wrestling matches were shorter. They had more story build up and things like that. So the matches tend to be longer in this. So that's one pro to the current product is the matches tend to be more interesting and longer when they're on Raw. But with that extra hour, you'd think that they'd get more story in.
Yeah.
They don't. They spend half the time with these fucking Raw recaps showing you what you just watched 20 minutes ago on Raw. And it's just all that all the time. And it gets really annoying. And they need to cut that shit out and use it, instead of Raw recaps, use it for promos. Use it for better storytelling. And they're just really dropping the ball on it.
Because I agree. They're really, the hype for this match, again, I agree with everything you said. The hype for it really isn't there. I agree that if the League of Nations is supposed to be badass, they should win. I do think the League of Nations does win. That is going to be my choice, but it wouldn't shock me if the New Day wins because the WWE thinks that, everyone loves them, let's keep it rolling type of thing. But either way, I could care less.
Hougie, who's your pick?
On paper, how can you not pick the League of Nations? But I think this turns into either one of two things. Either League of Nations wins, and it's not that it's 4-on-3. It's 4-on-3. You think that already it's the numbers. Not to mention just the guys on the team are, to me, grossly more. They're just better. Overall, they're better, more experienced. They've got a lot more important wins under their belts than the New Day. But yeah, I said the New Day's kind of been like that. They're slowly making that transition now to being a full face group. So I can see them pulling off a win, but I just can't I could not understand just from a wrestling match unless there's tension between the League of Nations. I see them winning.
There's always tension between the League of Nations, dude. It's just politics.
Moving
I
on.
was trying to figure out where you're going with that. Who's Mussolini in this?
For what it's worth, I thought Hougie was going to give us a John Madden and say one of two things is going to happen: the League of Nations is going to win, or the New Day is going to win.
He kind of done that a few times already. So Hoagie's definitely the John
Almost every
Madden of
match,
today's podcast. So the next match, actually, in my opinion, could steal the show.
Who's your pick?
I said the League, the
New Day.
I did say the New Day, yes, because that's what I think is going to happen. But I think the League of Nations should win, but New Day's going to. But the next match is what I think could be the dark horse to steal the entire show, and that's going to be AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho. And to the credit of the writing, which is probably a lot to do with Chris Jericho himself, this has actually been one of the better built-up stories. It's kind of been, ever since AJ Styles debuted at Royal Rumble, they teamed up for a little bit, Team Y2 AJ, which was very clever. And then now they're, mortal enemies. So both veteran guys with, who put on a good show. I think it's going to be a great match. I think it's AJ Styles, being the face and also sort of the newer guy. And that's what Chris Jericho does. He just puts people over these days. I think AJ Styles is going to win.
I think you covered it, and I agree. I think AJ Styles gets his WrestleMania win.
If Jericho can put over Fandango, then yes, this is going to be Styles' win at WrestleMania.
Such confidence and confirmation from even Hougie on this one. So
this is not a one of two things that's going to happen. I'd be very surprised. There's no reason for Jericho to win. There's no payoff.
I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. The next match actually could be another pretty good match. It's had a decent build-up, and that's the Divas Championship triple threat with Charlotte, the daughter of Ric Flair and current champion, taking on Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. These are three NXT stars who put on some hell of great matches in their time in NXT and now have a chance to shine on the WrestleMania stage. I think Becky Lynch might surprise somebody and win this one. That's just a gut call. I know Sasha Banks is related to Snoop Dogg, and he'll be at the card. And Charlotte, of course, is related to Ric Flair, and he'll be at the card. But I think that just leans the way to Becky Lynch to be the surprise winner.
I agree. I think this will be an entertaining match. I'm glad that they actually are making some serious female matches here, which we kind of got into in the past, so we don't need to touch it now. But my choice will be Sasha Banks.
Yeah, this is going to be my dark horse match. Like this, I think this could be one of the top three matches on the card, and I think it's going to be Sasha Banks. Especially if Ric Flair is going to be down at the ring, I can see him messing it up for Charlotte, and Sasha Banks pulls out a win.
Yep.
And then moving on to what I consider the three main events in their own rights. And the first one is the Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar street fight. And this one's had a solid build-up. Of course, Brock Lesnar is just the beast incarnate, has pretty much demolished everybody that he's fought over the past, almost his whole career in the WWE, but especially the last few years. He broke Undertaker's WrestleMania undefeated streak of 21 straight victories at WrestleMania. Well, not straight, but 21 victories over the span of, 25 WrestleManias or whatever Undertaker was at. And here he is fighting Dean Ambrose, it's sort of a David versus Goliath sort of thing. Dean Ambrose, the underdog, obviously having the street fight aspect of it gives him a little bit more of a chance, because the use of weapons and foreign objects will be allowed. I think Brock Lesnar still has to win this because he's still being touted as just this unbeatable guy. I mean, when he gets beat, it's usually because somebody else gets pinned or there was interference or cheating or something like that. But I think Dean Ambrose can lose this match and still come off looking amazing. And that's basically Brock Lesnar beats the shit out of him over and over and over. Dean's bloody, he's crawling, he's bleeding, and he keeps fighting. And honestly, it wouldn't even surprise me if they do one of those. He passes out sort of a la Stone Cold Bret Hart, where he doesn't actually ever give up. He's just the match is called because he can't physically fight anymore. And it makes him an instant major star and still makes Brock Lesnar look like an absolute badass.
I agree 110%. I think this story writes itself, and I think it could happen exactly like you said it. And as long as the match is good and both the guys do work, which I think they both can, I think people will love it. As a matter of fact, I think the WWE writers, if they change anything and fuck it up, they're the biggest idiots in the world. You get Ambrose over by making him look like a badass, like you were just saying, and then you keep Brock Lesnar over by making him beat the shit out of this dude. You know what I mean? And it writes itself, and everyone's happy. It's a great match. End of the match. You know what I mean? I think that's how it should happen. I hope to God it is.
I don't care who wins. This is, once again, like you said, this is all about putting Dean Ambrose in a position where he's going to be a future main eventer. So whether he wins in a heroic fashion or dies in a heroic fashion, one of those has to happen.
I still think Brock has to win this match.
Yeah. I was going to say, the only reason I think Brock needs to win, unless, like you said, there's some type of outer like someone comes and does something to Brock to like knock his ass out or something.
I mean, there's still the chance the Wyatts could show up in this because they're not carded, and there's sort of a weird feud between them from Royal Rumble that they kind of finished at that off
they kind of like
pay-per-view thing. But
pending something like that, I think if Brock Lesnar loses almost ever, especially at WrestleMania, it totally like nullifies that win over The Undertaker. It makes The Undertaker losing his streak almost look kind of shitty. So I think Brock Lesnar has to win.
Yep. Speaking of Undertaker, let's move to his match, which could be, for me, the most anticipated match of the night, and probably for a lot of people. It's a Hell in a Cell match, which is always Undertaker's specialty. But it's against Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon's son, returning to the spotlight after being basically out of the business for 10 plus years, something like that. I loved the dude when he was sort of a quasi wrestler back then. The guy will do whatever he can to sell a ticket. I mean, he jumped from the Titantron. He was thrown through plate glass, even though it didn't break the first couple of times. I mean, just brutal matches. The guy is entertaining as hell. And here he is fighting The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, which, if you watch any of Undertaker's previous Hell in a Cell matches, they're bloody, they're intense, they're actually very, pretty graphic at times. And I think that you're going to see some of those spots. And of course, the big stipulation is if Shane McMahon wins this match, he becomes the GM of Raw. And that means you're going to see a lot more Shane McMahon on, programming. And that also means that The Undertaker would be forced into retirement. One other piece of note is that this whole card is taking place in Texas. Of course, Undertaker's basically hometown. So there's a lot riding on this. I personally am going to go on the limb and say The Undertaker is going to win this. But if this is the last match of the night, and the championship match happens before, and we'll kind of go into that in a little bit, I say Shane McMahon wins. If it's not, then I say The Undertaker is going to win this.
I'll let Hougie elaborate more if he wants to, but my only comment is if the match is anything like the beginning of Raw last week where Shane elbowed him from the ropes into the table, it's going to be a great match. And I do agree with Undertaker winning, unless he loses and I don't know how this is possible, but unless he loses in some type of respectful way, I don't see him losing his last
one
match.
Of the, when it comes to retirement matches, there's such a hokey thing because so many people come back from retirement matches, but one one bit of sort of fantasy booking that I've seen online where people have kind of said, oh, this would be great if this happens, is obviously Shane is sort of feuding with Vince McMahon, his father, over control of the business, and Vince just basically forced Undertaker into this match. But somebody said this could be Stone Cold's appearance. He comes down, stuns the Undertaker just to give Vince one last middle finger on, typical Stone Cold fashion. Like whatever you do can screw Vince over and cause Shane to win the match, which would be a way for Undertaker to lose his second ever WrestleMania match, with it still being respectable.
But do you think that you would have, like, Stone Cold? I know that he's from Texas as well, but that's a tough thing to do. Like, it almost seems kind of like a heel thing to do. Because I think, I don't know, are people more wanting Shane to win this match even in Texas?
Match. Yeah. I mean, look, it's one of those, people love Undertaker, but Shane is Shane, and that's what the fans are going to go nuts for right now. Plus, Shane, they would love Shane to control Raw instead of Stephanie and Triple H, kills the Authority, all that. I mean, this Shane is, for all intents and purposes, the babyface, and Undertaker's sort of the non-heel in the match, but he's not the babyface of it either.
He's more like a mercenary in this match. I see Shane winning, but it can go either way because I don't know if anyone's really been reading up on the rumors, but I guess they're talking about once again splitting up Raw and SmackDown again.
I have seen that, but given all the injuries that are taking place right now and how hurt this card is, can you imagine a brand split?
Well, I mean, I think there's enough. I mean, I feel like you would have to shorten Raw again, though. 3 hours.
You have to bring it down to 2, and then you'd probably have to call it more of NXT or do like a NXT is sort of
acquisition,
half and half. They wrestle on NXT, but they're also wrestling on a major program. So, I mean, there are some interesting rumors there.
So I can see Undertaker winning this match, and then just Shane on a technicality takes over SmackDown, or Shane wins, takes over Raw, and then the Authority takes over SmackDown. If they do the split,
all right.
I think, you know what I mean.
Yep. Gun to your head, who you picking?
Shane.
I'm taking Taker. Haddix.
I'll say gun to my head, no type of stipulations, Undertaker.
I'd love to see Shane win it, but I think that's how it's going to go. And in the will likely be the main event, Triple H, the current WWE champion, goes up against nobody's favorite Roman Reigns. I say that because he is literally being booed on every single match he's in, at every single venue he's in. They've done everything they can to try and make him seem like the unbeatable, the next big thing. Fans don't like it. They don't want it. They tried pushing this story by actually taking him off Raw for a couple of weeks, that Triple H bloodied him up, and it did nothing for him. Triple H and Stephanie came out on Raw this week and literally were like, we hate you fans. You guys are stupid. And they're like, boo. And he's like, we are so much better than you guys. Boo. And I'm going to beat Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns, I'm going to beat Roman Reigns Sunday. And then everybody cheers. Like, they don't want, no matter what Triple H could do, he could tell everyone that he hates them to fuck off, and they're still cheering on Triple H over Roman Reigns. That's how much they don't want Roman Reigns to win. And Roman Reigns is going to win.
Agreed. We've had this conversation, all three of us, off air. I think Roman Reigns wins no matter what. If they're smart, they turn him heel. I think that's all it boils down to. They're fucking idiots. They'll keep him baby, or at least turn him heel on Raw the following day. But something. But yeah, he wins regardless, I think.
I think whatever happens in the Undertaker, whatever they have plans for the Undertaker Shane McMahon match, I see that being the actual main event. Because I can't imagine ending WrestleMania with booing. And we know it's going to happen.
That's how it's going to happen. Wins. I agree completely. That's why I said.
So I can't. So don't make that be the last match. Shane Taker's got to be the last match.
The only thing, again, going back to the Stone Cold rumor, is the rumor, or if The Rock comes out to help Roman Reigns, but then he turns on The Rock. everyone will boo, but at least it'll be like a big moment type of thing instead of just Roman Reigns winning.
But the only thing I could think of is like if Roman Reigns turns heel, he has to join the Authority, right? I mean, that would make the most sense. So how do you do that match? You can't have Triple H lay down, have Roman pin him like you would the finger poke of doom back in WCW, because there's a reason it's called the finger poke of doom, because it just killed.
Well, unless you have maybe you have The Rock come out rock bottom Triple H, and in essence helping Roman Reigns win, and then to return the favor, Roman Reigns, beats up The Rock and then pins Triple H. So technically he didn't beat the shit out of Triple H, some type of thing.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, it's still, there's just going to be, it's unfortunate that Triple H is the champion because it makes it very hard to turn him heel at this moment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I have no doubt in my mind Roman Reigns is walking out of their champion. We don't have, like we did last year, we don't have a Money in the Bank winner to cash in. Typically with WrestleMania, they try to keep the fans happy. Like this is the show that they want to please the fans with. They gotta know. They can't be stupid enough to think that Roman Reigns is going to be cheered, which to your point, Kyle, if this match isn't the last match and McMahon, Shane Taker is, then I'm very inclined to believe Shane's winning that match so they can end on this high note.
And they also can end it where you can have the time for The Undertaker, because that's going to be very emotional, knowing that's going to be his last match, and then someone's got to follow that. And the last person you're going to want to have that followed up with is going to be anything involving Roman Reigns. So if Shane does pull off a win, or if he's slated to win, then that's got to be the end. I still think it should be the end regardless, because WWE does not want their biggest show to end in a chorus of boos. And it's going to happen if you have Roman Reigns.
Here's another question I'll throw at you guys. What are the chances that Triple H wins and then Roman Reigns wins it tomorrow night on Raw and turns heel?
He's not going to win it on Raw tomorrow. No way.
Well, I mean, not tomorrow, but you know what I meant. Monday.
I know what you meant. He's not going to win it on Raw.
I would probably be more shocked if Triple H won than when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. I remember when I was over at Kiser's and we watched him beat The Undertaker.
Oh, God, yeah.
And we were both just staring at each other like, is the match over?
Done.
But that's the point is everyone, me included, thinks that Roman Reigns wins no matter what. Whatever the storyline, Roman Reigns wins. But what if they switch that up on us just to throw some shock value in there?
I would love it. I would absolutely love it. But I don't see it happening.
Neither do I.
And I bet my life savings on Roman Reigns.
Yeah, it would be cool. It'd be cool to see that, to see them do the twist of that, where Triple H wins and then still Roman Reigns finds a way to go heel, or even do like a complete swap where Triple H wins fairly and somehow he comes out as a face.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
It'll be interesting. But my pick, however, no stipulations, is Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
You know what? They did say, I looked at the WWE magazine, someone pulled a cover for this match, and they said it's supposed to be a no DQ match. So you know.
Most championship matches, I think, are these days, but we'll see where that goes. That probably allows, like to Haddix's point, the Rock coming down there. Maybe the Usos will come down there and it'll just be a whole big Samoan love fest. But we're basically at the end here, so that wraps up our WrestleMania preview. Go ahead, watch WrestleMania this Sunday, and then we'll maybe we'll tweet out about it after next day or so. Talk about it. Feel free to tweet at us about the matches, about the card as a whole, what you think, any predictions you want or you've got. Let us know your thoughts, your fantasy booking. Go to the pseudonerdpod.com. You can find all of our stuff there. And if you guys haven't seen Batman vs. Superman, I know the three of us here have seen it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But we'll have a whole podcast at some point next month where we're going to review it. So I would recommend getting out there and checking it out.
You won't be disappointed. Well, at least I don't think you'll be disappointed.
Unless you're a critic, and therefore you're forced to hate it.
Yes, exactly.
Yep. So that said, next week's podcast, no more wrestling for a while. We're gonna go. Baseball season's gonna be opening up, so we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk some baseball, talk some Tribe. And from the warehouse district to the financial district, I'm Josh Kiser. He is Josh Haddix, and he is Kyle Hoagland. And we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good Friday.
See you later.